this is Ava from Glow with Ava, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel today. If you are new, in this channel I cover everything you have to know about skincare, beauty, wellness, lifestyle. So if you want to join the Glow gang, make sure to subscribe to my channel below, and also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Glow with Ava, where I do a lot of reviews and fun stuff. Today, as you can tell from the title, we are going to be talking about mineral sunscreens. So last month I posted a video about my favorite Asian sunscreens, and I think you guys really appreciated that. But at the same time, a lot of you guys always ask, like, what are the best mineral sunscreens out there, especially for people who have super sensitive skin or are allergic to normal chemical sunscreens. So that is why this video is finally being filmed after having been testing a ton of mineral sunscreens over the last few months. And this isn't a video about talking about the best mineral sunscreens. While during the video I will mention some of my favorite mineral sunscreens, but there will be some misses in this video as well. So I just want this to be a very transparent video on how I apply them, how it applies, my review on them, so that it can guide you for your future purchases of these mineral sunscreens. And also, this video is not going to be a super detailed list of all the ingredients, talking about the science behind all of this, because as I mentioned in my previous video, the best sunscreen for you is the sunscreen that you actually want to use every single day, because that is the most important part. You need to be able to find the SPF that you really love, that you'll be wearing every single day to protect your skin. For any detailed ingredient list and reviews, I'm going to put everything down in the description box below for you guys as reference. But this video, I'm going to be showing you guys my full demo of how it applies on the skin, how easy it is spreadable, any white cast, and all of that. And as I mentioned in my previous video, the criteria for the best sunscreen for me is, first of all, does it leave a white cast? Second, is it easily applicable? And third, is it easily washable? So once again, it's going to be around those criteria as well. All right, so this intro is getting a little longer, but I just want to make sure to, keep the ground set before we dive into the actual sunscreen. We're going to be talking about 14 mineral sunscreens today. So it took a little bit of a while to test all of these, but it's finally here. And for as background, mineral sunscreens versus chemical sunscreens means that it doesn't use any chemical fillers that can cause some skin allergies, skin reactions, and all that. So mineral sunscreens tend to use, so the two key ingredients that mineral sunscreen uses is zinc oxide as well as titanium dioxide, and both ingredients are very powerful in protecting your skin against UVA and UVB, while zinc oxide is slightly more superior to that. But titanium dioxide and zinc oxide, for example, are ingredients that are found in white paint on your walls, so that is why they tend to leave more of a white cast, kind of uncomfortable to wear, and also drying as well. So those are the so that is why I've never really leaned towards mineral sunscreens, but I feel like 2020 was a year where skincare brands really tried to step up the game. So you see big brands like Verse, for example, come out with mineral sunscreens. So this is a very positive movement, and I hope that next year there will be even more for me to share with you guys instead of discussing some of the hits that I have experienced. And also, a lot of the sunscreens that I'm going to be discussing today also have slightly of a tint, because by adding the tint in, that diminishes and reduces the appearance of white cast in the sunscreen. So there is a little bit of a balance that you have to strike out. And sometimes with mineral sunscreens, the SPF coverage is a little lower than your typical chemical sunscreens of SPF 50, because the higher the sun protection, the more of the ingredient that you have to put in it, which means more white cast, harder to apply, blah blah blah. But there are plenty of really good options that I want to discuss. So without further ado, let's get into talking about mineral sunscreens today. So the sunscreen I'm going to be discussing is in no particular order, but the very first one I'm going to be discussing is the PURITO Comfy Water Sunblock SPF 50. I've already mentioned this in full detail in my previous best Asian sunscreen, so if you want that full review of this one, then go there. But once again, this is SPF 50 PA++++, so the best kind of coverage that you can possibly get. And this has to be one of my favorite mineral sunscreens out there, and just sunscreen in general. When you apply it, it truly feels like a chemical sunscreen. There's absolutely zero white cast. It spreads on so nicely. And this is actually 70% water-based, which means that it is super hydrating with the glycerin in it. And on top of that, it also has centella and cica for that soothing effect, especially in the summertime, which I think is so important when I tend to get red as well. And there are no minerals or alcohol, which is very hard to find in mineral sunscreen because usually those two ingredients are included in mineral sunscreens to improve the overall spreadability of the sunscreen. So that's very impressive. So overall, I'm going to keep this short because I've already talked about this so many times, but this is actually one of my favorite mineral sunscreens out there, and sunscreen in general as well. All right, the next one is the First Aid Beauty Liquid Mineral Sunscreen with Zinc Oxide, which is SPF 30, so slightly of a lower SPF coverage. And a lot of sunscreen that are manufactured in the US, they actually don't have a PA rating because it's not required, which I don't understand. This is a tinted SPF. As I mentioned, a lot of the mineral sunscreens I'm going to be discussing today does have a slightly of a tint to counteract the fact that it does leave a white cast. So overall, I love the tint that this gives, and it spreads so easily to the point where when I apply this, I don't really have to go in with a second coverage or concealer or even foundation or anything because I love the natural glow that it gives. It gives a very, very dewy finish overall, which I love. However, the SPF coverage is not high, especially with the tint and all of that. So I don't feel comfortable just wearing this on days when I'm going to be out in the sun for a long time. So what I've actually been doing is kind of using a normal SPF underneath, a light layer. And then on top of that, I use this for another layer. And I kind of treat this more as like my tinted moisturizer, BB cream and all of that, instead of treating this as an SPF. So with the other SPFs that do have SPF 30 or below, I would recommend you guys treating that as your second sunscreen slash BB cream as well, since you're really not going to get that adequate SPF coverage on it. Overall, no white cast, really super easy to apply and also very easy to wash off. So this is a pretty much a winner for me as well. Next one is the REN Skincare Clean Screen Mineral SPF 30. Once again, this is slightly of a lower SPF and doesn't have a PA rating either. And this is more of a mattifying sunscreen. So while as the First Aid Beauty one was a very dewy, glowy finish, this is more of a mattifying finish. So I think this will be better for those with oily skin. However, I think this is one of the most dry sunscreens I'm going to be discussing today, unfortunately. Especially for me when I don't have that oily of a skin. It was just a little too dry and a little chalky for me when I applied it. Definitely a white cast when I do apply this as well. There is no tint in this, but because of that, it just like left a very big white cast for me. However, the only upside of this is the fact that it kind of acts more like a primer. So even though it is a little harder to spread out, if you do cover it up with foundation, I felt like this acted more as a primer that helped my makeup last a lot longer. And I think that's partially because this is more of a mattifying finish, while as some of the other dewy, oilier finishes that are in sunscreens, they make my makeup not last as long. So if you're looking for a primer with SPF coverage, and if you do have oily skin, I actually think this would be a pretty good option for you, but just for me, it didn't really work out. Not to mention that this is $38, which is a lot more expensive than any of the other sunscreens that I'm going to be discussing today. So I think with that price point, I feel like I can find better alternatives. Alright, next one. This is the newest one that I've tried recently. It's from OBAGI Medical, and it is their Physical Defense SPF 50 PA+++++. So the best sunscreen rating once again that you can get. And I feel like this is one of the first medical dermatologist treated sunscreens that I have tried. And personally, I love OBAGI and I trust OBAGI products. So I'm super excited to test this one out. This one comes in SPF 50 and SPF 40 as well. Not sure what exactly the difference is, other than the fact that there's a difference SPF, but when I have the choice of SPF 40 and SPF 50, I'm definitely going to go for the SPF 50, but this one actually has a tint. So I feel like the tint is a little more than even the First Aid Beauty one. So this has a very strong tint. So for days when you don't really want that much of a tint on your face and you just want a pure sunscreen, I really won't lean for this, to be honest with you. But on days when I do want that extra coverage and I want to look good, then this is plenty enough to the point where I really don't need any concealer. It does a really good job of giving you that SPF protection, but also giving you additional coverage. It does have more of that dewy finish, so I'm not sure if it would be that great for those with oily skin, but for me, this actually was a really big winner for me. No white cast, obviously, because of the tint. Very easy to apply, easily spreadable, easy to wash off. So actually very impressed by the OBAGI. What's interesting about this is that it doesn't just protect you against UVA and UVB rays, but also against something called high energy visible light and normal visible light, which I've never even heard of, but apparently it can protect you against all kinds of light and rays. So can't go wrong with that, right? Also, as I mentioned, it does have skincare benefits, so it does have aloe vera for soothing effects, and also for broccoli extract for that extra antioxidant property as well. So this is a winner. All right, I have so much to go through. I feel like this is gonna be a very long video, so I'm gonna try and keep this pretty short. All right, the next one we're gonna talk about is the Versed Guards Up. So I actually did already upload, I should be uploading that soon on newest Versed products and my full review of them. So I'm gonna give a fuller review of this sunscreen there. But overall, like obviously I was so excited when Versed was gonna come out with a zinc oxide sunscreen. So this is actually 15% zinc oxide, and it also is non-nano, which is great. So a lot of mineral sunscreens for zinc oxide, they actually include nanotechnology to improve the overall spreadability of sunscreens. However, the nanotechnology can actually be irritating for some skin types. So that's why non-nano is great for your skin. So if a company can master how to make it non-nano while including zinc oxide and titanium dioxide in their sunscreen, that is the best formula out of all. So anyways, they try to do this. This is SPF 35, so a little lower than the SPF 50. Once again, no PA rating either. So this is formulated with sea fennel as well as moringa seed extract for the antioxidant benefits, and does have slightly of a pinkish tint to it. So overall it does sound good. However, I've tried using this so many times, and every single time I try to use it, it does lead to some pilling for me, and I've tried it with all different kinds of skincare combinations, makeup combinations, and especially when I put on makeup over this, it does tend to pill for me. So I did a video on how to make this better by using a beauty sponge, so I'll link that here as well as on my TikTok on how to use this, because I really wanted to find a better way to actually use this, because I like the idea of it. It doesn't give me any irritations and all that. So anyways, that is just like a warning for you guys. So I don't know, I feel like some people have said it just spreads on so nicely, it's amazing, but for me this just wasn't really that big of a win. But it is very affordable. So if you want to try a mineral sunscreen that's affordable and does have slightly of a tint and great for sensitive skin with skincare benefits, then maybe you should try this out. I do have a promo code for you if you do want to eventually purchase this or any other Versed products as well. So the next one I'm going to be talking about is the MAELOVE Sun Protector. This is SPF 30. This is one of the first mineral sunscreens that I tried last year. Unfortunately, I was super not impressed by this, you know? Like, this leaves a very big chalky white cast for me, even if I apply a really light layer. So with a lot of the mineral sunscreens today, I try to apply a light layer and then double that up 2 times. That is what I do with the Versed to try to make it work as well. But this one just didn't really work out for me. I do love their other skincare products that I do have. I just couldn't get over the fact that it was so hard to apply. It leaves a huge white cast. So this is going to be a pass for me. Next one is Make PREM. This is their low irritant mineral sun milk SPF 50 PA++++. So once again, the highest standard. And what I love about Korean sunscreens, especially mineral sunscreens, is that they do have the highest SPF and PA rating. And I feel like some of the ones I've tried before, it just feels a lot more drying. And that's been a common thing that I've seen with some of the Korean sunscreens. Even the Make PREM, the other version that I talked about in the best Asian sunscreens, I love that formula, but it does get a little drying at the end of the day, especially if you have dry skin. So it's not the best sunscreen for me to use in the winter time. However, for this one, it does dry out a little bit, but I think the drying out is actually slightly better than the other Make PREM version of this. I'm not going to get too deep into this because the formula and application is very similar to the other Make PREM sunscreen that I did use, except that one used, I think it was a combination of mineral and chemical fillers, while as this is 100% pure, just mineral. Personally, this is a very big winner for me because it is a true sunscreen that I will use and want to use every single day. So once again, that meets every single one of my sunscreen criteria, even though it can feel a little dry. But other than that, I Love, love, love this one. And I always get questions asked about like any drugstore options, so I try to include a few drugstore options today here as well. And one is the Bare Republic Mineral Sunscreen Lotion. I honestly, when I first got this, I was like, had really low expectations for this. It's SPF 30 as it's a tinted face one. I don't think I ever mentioned this, but every single sunscreen that I'm mentioning today feels and applies so differently. Nothing is kind of similar. Maybe the Make PREM and the PURITO Comfy Water has similar application, but even then that's very different. But this one is really truly never seen a sunscreen with this kind of application. So as you can see in this video clip here, it does have slightly of a tint. It has more of that like souffle moussey kind of texture. But in terms of applicability, it applies so well, sinks into your skin immediately, zero white cast, because also it does have a tint, but it was so comfortable to use. So in terms of the sunscreen criteria, it completely meets the fact that I would want to use this every single day. So this was a very big winner in terms of drugstore beauty. So I actually got this from CVS, so easily purchasable at CVS or your local drugstores, and very affordable as well. And on top of that, it is vegan and cruelty free. So look at that. Alright, next one I want to talk about is a Korean sunscreen. Once again, it is DEWY Tree. Once again, with Korean sunscreen, the highest protection that you can get. I actually love this one because it does have vitamin E as well as centella asiatica to overall, nourish your skin, but also calm down any kind of irritated skin and redness as well. The overall finish is a little bit more matte, so I think this will be great for those with oily skin. So this doesn't have like that tint as like the previous sunscreens I did mention, but it does have slightly of a pinkish tint. So I think overall, I feel like this makes it look like you do have a white cast, but because of the pinkish tone, I feel like it actually leaves more radiance into your skin, especially if you apply concealer or foundation over it. And actually, this is the one that I'm wearing beneath my makeup today. It spreads so well. It applies really well under your makeup and doesn't lead to any kind of pilling. Actually, with all of these sunscreens, I haven't really noticed any kind of pilling except for the first one, which is unfortunate. Overall, Koreans are a fan of the whole toned up look, where they like slightly of a lavender or pinkish tone to kind of brighten up your overall skin tone, and I felt like this was a winner for me, so I'm definitely going to be using this every single day. Another one that I think this is drugstore, I think, which is Love Sun Body. So there's this their SPF 30, which is slightly lower, and I actually did have pretty high expectations for this one. But this was so hard to apply. It left a huge white cast. I've used this multiple times as well, but it really was not a win for me. I absolutely don't want to be using this on a daily basis. However, I will be using this on my body. So any of the sunscreens that I'm talking about today that weren't a huge winner for me, and ones I don't really will be reaching for on a daily basis to apply on my skin, I'm definitely going to be using this on my body. And I think for this SPF 30 protection against UVA UVB rays, I think this will be a great option to use on my body, just not for my face. Speed things through, another Korean sunscreen is from Access Y. It's their complete no stress physical sunscreen. Once again, SPF 50, SPF blah 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 blah, whatever. Best sunscreen rating that you can get. Overall, I have been really loving the products from Access Y, especially the dark spot serum. It glides on so easily. So this one also is very easy to apply. It does leave slightly of a white cast in the beginning, but that kind of fades away right after. And this is actually made with mugwort as well as niacinamide to overall give you a brightened complexion. And on top of that, it also has squalene to hydrate your skin and also, prevent it from clogging up your pores. Because I feel like a lot of the ingredients in mineral sunscreens actually tend to lead to more drying or, pore clogging properties, but this one has squalene to kind of counteract the fact that it could clog up some of parts of your face. So the finish of this is actually a little bit more mattifying, so I think this will be great for those with acne prone or oily skin as well. And despite the fact that it does have the squalene in this, it's not like your typical super moisturizing one. I feel like even the Comfy Water, this one is so moisturizing obviously, so this one is the most hydrating out of all the ones I'm going to be discussing today, but this one isn't that hydrating, and maybe that's why it does give you a slightly more of a matte finish in general. But this is one that I actually will be reaching out for all the time, especially on days when I do want a slightly more of a matte finish. This also has no essential oil or fragrance, and there is a zero peeling and actually wears really well under makeup because just like the Dewy Tree one, I feel like this does have slightly of like a radiant look if applied under makeup. Okay guys, we only have 3 left and COCOKIND just launched a new daily SPF. This is SPF 32. So actually one of the lower ones that I'm going to be discussing today. This has 21% zinc oxide as well as turmeric for your skincare benefits. I love the fact that COCOKIND uses all kinds of really powerful superfoods to your skincare routine. So for example, they have sea clay, celery, turmeric, matcha, and all of that. And I really enjoyed their products. So I was very excited when they came out with this one. So this one supposedly helps protect against UVA, UVB, as well as blue light, especially on days when we're just like sitting in front of a computer all the time. By the way, you should be wearing your sunscreen indoors at all times because you know your windows can't protect you against all of that, but also your computer screen, your phone, all of that, they emit blue light. So I think having a sunscreen, especially these days, that you can easily wear at home that also protects against blue light is very important. And as you can see, very easy to apply, almost no white cast, even though it doesn't have a tint in the either. It's got a very nice creamy texture that honestly just feels like a moisturizer. So I think that's why it's called the Daily SPF, because it's truly one that you can use on a daily basis, just like your moisturizer. And especially in the summertime, I feel like this can even replace my moisturizer, like a moisturizer with SPF. The only downside is that it is slightly of a lower SPF coverage, so don't wear this to your beach or out and about. Another one that is actually pretty new to me is the KINSHIP one. This is SPF 32 and has zinc oxide and apparently has probiotic ingredients to help your skin. So this one actually does have slightly of a tint. It's kind of like a rosy golden, kind of like a rose gold tone up. So the tint in this is very different from the pinkish tone that Dewy Tree has. It does have more of that glow factor, almost like it has some kind of shimmer in it, which I love. This one I was also very pleasantly surprised by because it actually does apply really nicely on the skin and easy to apply, blends in well, applies well under makeup. So I think with all of these, it's kind of like your personal choice, like what kind of coverage you want. I think it's kind of similar. These two are pretty similar actually, but if you do want more of that like glowy tint, then you can use this one. If you want something that is like just no tint, just one that is very, very hydrating, then go for this one. So really up to personal preference, but this one, the only downside, once again, is that it is only SPF 32. So that's the only downside with a lot of mineral sunscreens that I'm going to be discussing today. All right. Oh my gosh. Last one I'm going to talk about is the GLYTONE. This is their Hydra Liquid UV SPF 40 Plus. And this one is formulated with titanium dioxide as well as zinc oxide, and it also has squalene hyaluronic acid. So when I first saw the ingredient list, I was like, this is going to be super hydrating given that it has hyaluronic acid and squalene and also non-pore clogging. But unfortunately, this was very disappointing for me. This left a really big white cast for me, and on top of that, very hard to kind of spread around it. So I was kind of surprised by the fact that it wasn't really hydrating at all for me, and on top of that, it left a white cast, not really easy to wash off. So anything that like kind of like feels chalky on the skin and hard to apply is also hard to wash off as well. So sad because I had some high hopes for this one, but it didn't really work out for me. Okay, I've talked your ears off today. I tried to keep it short, but I had to give you the review. But anyways, I hope you guys found this helpful. I'm going to leave more detailed descriptions about each of these sunscreens in my description box below, so check that out. But I hope this video was helpful, and I'm going to be testing sunscreens until the day I die. So make sure to wear your sunscreen every single day, rain or shine. All right, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to subscribe for more videos like this, then make sure to subscribe to my channel below, and also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at glowwithava. All right, I love you guys.